Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Myra Ansari here with Troubleshooter Mark Stevens. Hope you are having a good Thursday afternoon so far. So we talk about our troubleshooter investigations a lot of times here in this format here on social media. And this is a preview today of Mark's investigation that's airing tonight at 6 o'clock tonight. And we always ask you all to send us tips through the troubleshooter line that we have set up online. And you all come through. And that's how you got this latest tip, because a family needed some help. Tell us about your investigation.
Yeah, so this is a case where a mom is pushing for lawmakers here in Kentucky to pass a new law when it comes to railroad crossings. So she contacted the troubleshooter hotline. She said that 4 years ago, her son was a passenger in a car, and it was hit by a train at a crossing about 15 minutes outside of Elizabethtown. It's on Craft Road near Rineyville.
Okay.
So terrible tragedy. So he's fatally injured. He's flown to U of L, and he later dies.
It's unfortunate.
Very, very unfortunate.
Yeah.
And so what's become her motivating effort to make sure that his death isn't meaningless is to try to get this law passed, because this particular railroad crossing, it's a rural railroad crossing, just has a yield sign. But that's not unusual in Kentucky. I think when I was doing the stats, like at least 80% of the crossings all across the state don't have any flashing lights, don't have any gates. And so the thing that she is most concerned with is who is responsible for clearing trees from the railroad crossing.
So, most of us, I would hope and think, we come to a railroad crossing. We stop and pause. If we know a train is coming,
Sure.
You wait for it to pass. I used to live right by a train track. I had to cross it every day. And
would you stop? Like literally stop, not a California stop, but stop and then do it both ways?
Yes.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
No, I'll be honest. Sometimes, yeah, it's not coming. You know it's not coming, and you just
Sure.
go ahead, because we all are in a rush, right? Like, and yes.
And so let me ask, the railroad crossing, but just has a yield sign. What would you do? How do you think you'd react?
If it was a yield sign, if I didn't know a train was coming, I would just do the little boop and go.
Sure. And there is video of this. She filed a lawsuit against the railroad. They settled. And so her attorney was willing to provide us a copy of what the locomotive camera captures.
Okay.
And so we're showing the moment of the impact.
Okay.
So you'll kind of see, but then the big thing, it's not that. And it's hard to describe. You just kind of have to watch the video.
Okay.
This may be a good tease.
All right. So
roll the tape, so to speak.
We're going to show you a clip from Mark's story that's airing tonight, so you get a better idea of what his investigation is about.
It was an evening. It was really pretty. And I just told him, I was like, you just be careful. Be home by midnight. I love you.
Hunter left that evening to hang out with one of his best friends. Around the same time, a train of 4 Paducah and Louisville locomotives was heading south. Shortly before 7, Hunter's friend drove down Craft Road and approached this railroad crossing, guarded by only a yield sign. Her lawyer provided the video the train cameras recorded, showing what happened next. Cerna got that terrible phone call.
All I can remember is my husband was out. We were making a vegetable garden. He was out there making vegetable boxes for himself and then also for a friend of ours. And he was over across the street talking to a neighbor. And I just went out screaming. I was like, we've got to go. We've got to go.
Hunter and his friend were flown to University Hospital, where he died of his injuries.
When I did get home, the first thing I did is I went to his room. And I put on the sweats he had on the night before on. And I laid his picture of him as a toddler and his graduation picture out on the table. And I took a picture of him.
The police and railroad said the driver failed to yield, but sheriff's pictures and the train video raised another question. Could Hunter and his friend even see the train through the trees? Cerna believes they couldn't.
That accident would have never happened, that my son would be sitting here with me today, not me sitting here with you.
Whew, that was a lot.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, you had mentioned that this is the first time I'm seeing that video, so sorry. Just you hear that impact, you feel that mother's grief, and it is a lot. Like
It's a lot. I mean, Tanya has not actually gone back to that crossing. She told me, and I asked her why, and it's just she will if she needs to, which is why she's created this effort that she's calling Hunter's Permit. Hunter's Purpose.
Purpose. Okay.
And the purpose is to try and get this law or get something that makes railroads responsible for clearing away trees so they can improve sight lines. Because that's her big argument is that if that tree line was cut down 300 feet in either direction, that they could have seen the train and come to a stop. Now, obviously, the what if, we have no idea.
Or even if, at least if we had the bars coming down, the flashing lights, even that. I mean, you can see her concern coming around that curve, and then all the trees are there. That yield sign is really not much of a warning.
Yeah, and as I was, when I went and shot video at the location, I mean, very little has changed. I mean, after the crash, the county had put in that there was a rumble strip, and I think they even put up the yellow railroad crossing sign, if I remember correctly. But there was nothing else changed. I mean, the tree line is, if anything, is thicker because it matched what some of the sheriff's photos that I saw of the scene, from 4 years ago.
You hear that, you see it happening, and I just covered my mouth because it was just like, you want to yell, no, stop, because it's so you could tell they were going and not realizing the train was there.
It was difficult to watch. It was difficult to get. And I made sure before we even got this, I asked Tanya, I said, you've seen this, right? And she has, because they were, had they not settled, they would have, gone likely into trial. And so she had to see it to be prepared herself. So we're not shocking her with, with showing this.
But we are showing this to you so you understand this mother's issue and why she wants to bring change. As she said, that if there were the proper warnings,
it's not even the warning. So she's not even advocating for, we have to have lights and gates at every road. Her mission is, if there is brush near the railroad crossing,
it needs to be cleared.
If it's on railroad property, it's got to be the responsibility of the railroad to clear it, because that's one of the issues here. Is as we were looking around, and as she found, Kentucky is kind of an island. Almost every state, with the exception of West Virginia around us, has a law that gives state inspectors the power to tell railroads, hey, you've got to clear this. And so we found, in Ohio, for example, it was a simple matter of somebody had contacted an inspector. They came, they looked, they took some pictures. They wrote basically a letter that said, you're in violation, fix this. It was fixed, case closed.
And you think about how many times have we all driven around somewhere we're not familiar with the roads? We don't know what's coming up. Maybe if you live in that area, on a regular basis, there's a train crossing there. If you're not familiar with it, that sort of thing can catch you off of guard.
Sure. And I would even argue, even if you're familiar with the crossing, and you're used to perhaps, you never have seen a train, although there are certainly trains that come by.
I mean, it's not like they go by 24/7.
Exactly. It maybe you grow accustomed to, okay,
and go.
I can just kind of slow down and, whatever. But it's very difficult to see. Like when the shot that you saw in that story of not from the locomotive, but from the car, that was me. I set up a camera in the passenger seat and I was driving up. In order to actually really see down the track, I mean, you're coming to a stop, but you're coming up almost to the track so you can see around the tree line that's there.
All right. Mark's story is airing tonight here on Wave News at 6 o'clock. We wanted to give you a preview to show you. Mark works so hard on his investigations, and we're so proud of the work that he does, and wanted to give you a sneak peek so you can see more of his story tonight at 6. And these are stories that are coming from you all. Mark, tell folks if they have a tip for us, for you, Natalia, John, to dig into, even our news department. How do they do that?
Very, very simply. You go to the Wave website, and up in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, there's I think it's a button that says "Contact the Troubleshooters." That brings up a web form. You fill it out, and it's just simple questions. Give us your contact information, your name. Tell us what you'd like to investigate. Give us some details about it. If you can add, depending on what it is you'd like to investigate, if you've got a document that you can upload or a picture, something that you think helps explain what it is you want us to look at, that comes all to our email. We look through every single one of them.
I know that they go through them, and it always helps if you make yourself available to talk about the issue, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Those come to the top of the list.
Yeah.
You know, the ones where, you know, and there are sometimes we totally understand where people
Want to remain anonymous.
want to remain, and that's fine. And that is something that we consider.
Yeah.
But it's difficult when, you know, sometimes we just get little one-liners.
Yeah.
And, you know, don't contact me.
Yeah.
We may not get to.
We are listening. We appreciate your time here. More on Mark's story tonight. I've added a link to what we have posted on our website, wave3.com as well. You can click on that to learn more and see his story tonight at 6. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
All right.